I had a look at your paper that you wrote about dream work for the dying. It's incredible. Do you want to talk about that a little bit for the listeners?
It's really a topic that's so close to my heart. Um, I guess the piece that I like to talk to bring to people's attention the most is that it's actually a very common occurrence when people are passing over, that they do experience very intense and vivid dreams and very intense waking visions, and very often visions of people who have passed before them. And in particularly in Western medicine, a lot of times the doctors don't know what to do with that. It feels very uncomfortable for them. They chalk it up to hallucinations, etc. And what it feels like to me is just like not honoring the process of dying. And I think that it's also makes things very difficult for the families of the dying. And I also think that in our culture, we don't adequately know how to live because we don't know how to die. We don't know how to honor what that process is and what really happens. And so it becomes terrifying, and people are stuck in existential crisis. And so if we can honor that process and we can treat it as sacred, and we can help guide people to have deeper and more profound experiences with their images and their dreams as that's happening, we can allow them and their families dignity, peace, shared story. Like there's just so much upside, there's so much positive that can come out of it. And in working with cancer patients and doing my dissertation with folks who are facing end of life, I just, and actually coming pretty darn close to it myself with my own
Yeah.
cancer experience, I just, it's something that I want to promote as much as I humanly can. And we are developing a training for palliative care workers, hospice workers, those who work with people who are passing over, so that they do understand how to help people integrate visionary images and prepare for psychedelic medicines. Because I think and I hope that those populations will be some of the first to get the medicines when they're legal.
Mm. That would be amazing. I've had a couple of family members who had that before passing where they were hallucinating. Um,
Right.
well, that's the way that the nurses were describing it, but it was just, yeah, this, like you were saying, seeing other family members who've already passed and thinking they were in the room, like just getting confused between night and day and things like that. If we had known that that was them preparing and getting ready to go to the other side, it could have been a lot different. And, you know, we would have been able to embrace that and understand what's going on rather than just being worried. Because,
Right.
yeah, the
It can
nurses are
be
making it out to be a negative
beautiful.
thing, but it's sort of like, oh, well, she's getting ready. Like, let's all be around her more and all this sort of a thing. So,
Mhm.
and I've heard that it is like when you die, it's like you slip into a dream. So if you become comfortable with dreaming, then
Mhm.
you're going to be comfortable with passing away. There's a few people in the world that are scared of dreams and they choose to close them out. And I think, I don't know, I worry that these people are also scared of dying, that
Mhm.
they're scared of dying because they haven't really lived. I feel like a way to really live is to pay attention to your dreams and remember them and experience everything that we can experience. Like this year, I've been dream journaling every dream, and I've been having at least one a night, 1 to 6 per night, and writing them all down. And I feel like this year has gone for about the length of 5 years compared to every other year that I've lived where I've ignored my dreams
Right.
and I've
Right.
ignored symbols and thought, oh, that's not real. I'm just making things up or I'm imagining it. And it's like, no, these are things coming through for a reason. And there's so many more layers to life. And it's not just like living in the day and our general,
Oh,
what there's so
no.
much more beneath the surface that
Right.
gives
Well,
such
think
a
about how
rich
much
life.
time we spend doing it. It's
Mm,
a great portion of our lives, and it's not wasted. I tend to believe that even for people who aren't working their dreams or coming into relation with their dreams are still working for them.
yeah. Yeah. Even if you don't remember the dream, you still get like you wake up with different feelings and different ideas and things like that. It's still
Right,
definitely going to work. It's just think we should enjoy them and not fear. I think fear
right,
sometimes holds people
right,
back. And like
right.
you said at the
There's nothing to
beginning,
be afraid of. I've never seen anyone, I mean, nightmares can be really disturbing, but nightmares are actually my favorite kinds of dreams of all because there's so much potent information to integrate. And what I see is once someone has integrated the information from a nightmare, it never returns.
mm,
And so, nightmares don't have to be a nightmare is just subconscious material trying really hard to get our attention. And so once we attend to it, then the nightmare goes away. Outside of nightmares, which can be very disturbing because of how hard they're trying to get our attention, I've never seen anyone really hurt by a dream.
mm, yeah.
So
Do you
there's
think
nothing to be
that
afraid of.
when people say like, oh, he had a bad trip, that is kind of like a nightmare?
I sure do.
So now when someone says, oh, I had a really bad trip, do you get really excited? Because you're like, this is going to be a huge breakthrough.
Um, I get
No.
really curious. I get really curious.
Yeah.
I'm not afraid of, I'm definitely not turned off or turned away from people bringing bad trips for integration. But I will say, and it's important to say that sometimes people will get things cracked open during a psychedelic experience that need more tending to than just a little integration. Sometimes people need psychotherapy, right? Sometimes people even need medical attention. So, you know, there's a whole spectrum, but I would say most people would be served by some good integration.